More than 2,000 years ago, the emperors of China began constructing great defensive walls to protect their northern frontiers. Even today, the remains of these ancient ramparts and towers scar the borderlands. Hundreds of thousands of men literally pounded this mighty edifice out of the earth. Finally, in the 16th century, they built the greatest fortifications ever created by human hand, a stone colossus that became the national icon of China. The Great Wall. What made the Middle Kingdom build this giant walled frontier? No one truly knows all the facets of the walls that snake across thousands of kilometers of North China. What have these walls to say about the world they were built to protect? Armies of tourists pay their respects to the stone ramparts north of Beijing that have given the world our image of the Great Wall. But what is its true story? The final years of the 18th century are the golden afternoon of the Chinese Empire. It's an ancient culture with unique rights and rules cut off from the rest of the world. But the cocoon the Middle Kingdom has spun for itself has become fragile. For several months, there has been a British trade delegation in China. Time enough for 12-year-old Thomas traveling with the delegation to learn Chinese.
Thomas, my son, there you are. Come and help us, please.
As an unofficial interpreter, he supplies valuable services to the ambassadors.
Anyway, do you understand what...
Finally, the court officials inform the foreigners that the emperor is ready to receive them. In his summer residence, 7 days' ride from the capital, Beijing.
He said that this trunk cannot go to Yiheyuan.
On this occasion, the delegation will finally be able to present an outstanding example of British craftsmanship to the Emperor of China. The carriages they brought to China all the way from England. But when they offer to make the ruler a gift of these splendid vehicles, the Mandarin's reaction is astonishment and disapproval.
The emperor don't like...
The officials assure them that His Sublime Majesty would never sit in such a palanquin, for no one, ever, must sit higher than the emperor. And the coachman not only sits higher, but with his back to his passenger.
We'll see about that. Come on, gentlemen.
The Englishmen will, of course, travel to the emperor in their coach. The English trade delegation representing King George is led by Lord Macartney, aided by Sir George Staunton. Their mission is to open the Chinese market to the products of the British Empire. A great procession accompanies the English visitors from the Forbidden City to the Summer Palace. Sir George's son, Thomas, improves his knowledge of Chinese with the help of the translator accompanying the delegation. The official Chinese interpreter is less than useful, as he speaks no English, only Latin. Three days out of Beijing, the mandarins and officers take the delegation over the Gubeikou Pass. Macartney and his colleagues are treated to a sight that few Europeans have ever beheld. The Great Wall. Nothing will keep the Englishmen in their coaches. They scramble over the wall, overwhelmed by their admiration for the architects and builders of this structure. But Lord Macartney notices that his Chinese escorts remain completely unmoved. He later wrote, "The Mandarins appeared rather uneasy and impatient at the length of our stay upon the wall. They were astonished at our curiosity, though few of them had ever visited it at all." Lord Macartney was otherwise less than impressed by Chinese cultural achievements, but overwhelmed by this most stupendous work of human hands, he continued, "This wall was built above 200 years before the Christian era. China must have been not only a very powerful empire, but a very wise and virtuous nation, to establish at once what was then thought a perpetual security for them against future invasion." The accounts of these first European tourists have influenced our image of the Great Wall ever since. But these British visitors had no idea that the stone colossus they were admiring was only about 200 years old. This huge structure had been built in the 16th century to stand guard over the heart of the Middle Kingdom, after the Gubeikou Pass had been the gateway for an invasion that shook the empire to its core. The story begins in Beijing. This is where the emperor of the Ming dynasty lives, in the Forbidden City. This is the center of the world. From here, the emperor rules over all under heaven. In splendid audiences, the Son of Heaven demonstrates his power. Hundreds gather in front of the Hall of Perfect Harmony to pay homage to their ruler. Like everything else that happens at court, this ceremony follows a strict ritual. A state without ritual is a plough without a blade, they say. And like the pole star in the heavens, the emperor stands at the center of the earth. He is the head and the center point of the Middle Kingdom. And hardly any other ruler of the Ming dynasty embodies this principle more than Emperor Jiajing, who has sat on the dragon throne since 1522. At that time, China regarded all foreign peoples as barbarians. Diplomatic contacts and trade relations with other peoples are considered entirely unnecessary. The Middle Kingdom is sufficient unto itself. Even the right to pay tribute to the emperor is an honor that only the emperor himself can grant. A delegation of Mongolian nomads appear before the officials of the Middle Kingdom. They have a message for Emperor Jiajing. Not for the last time, the Mongols ask the emperor for permission to pay a tribute.